Hi, how are you today? Have you heard about flow? If you have seen the animated movie Soul, which directly reference a flow state, you may have a better understanding of what flow is. Soul is a movie about flow states and human psychology. A man named Joe loves jazz. When he plays piano, he gets into the zone and craves to be there. He gets the opportunity of a lifetime to play with a well-known jazz singer. Unfortunately, he's so excited by the chance to live out his passion that he falls down a manhole in the middle of a busy street. This puts him in a coma. Joe then finds himself somewhere between life and death. Through a series of strange events, he was introduced by a young soul named 22 to the zone, which is a space between the physical and spiritual. When humans on Earth find flow states and enter the zone, they are transported to this place. Joe is shown that flow doesn't only come from music. Flow can come from extraordinary activities and ordinary activities too. So what exactly is flow? How do we enter this realm of optimal experience? Some people understand the notion of flow, but they don't utilize it because it's not simplistically explained for them to implement it. A research in 1990 suggests that flow states are those times when people report feelings of concentration and deep enjoyment. What makes experience genuinely satisfying is a state of concentration so focused that it amounts to absolute absorption in an activity. Everyone experiences flow from time to time and will recognize its characteristics. People typically feel strong, alert, in effortless control, unself-conscious, and at the peak of their abilities. So how do we get into the flow states? The flow states usually occur when a person's body or mind is stretched to its limits, in a voluntary effort to accomplish challenges or tasks that are neither too difficult nor too simple for one's abilities. Because flow states depend on the ability to control what happens in consciousness moment by moment, each person has to achieve it on the basis of his own individual efforts and creativity. This happens when attention is invested in realistic goals, and when skills match the opportunities for action. The pursuit of a goal brings order and awareness because a person must concentrate attention on the task at hand and momentarily forget everything else. The studies have suggested that the flow has 8 major components. When people reflect on how it feels when their experience is most positive, they mention at least one of the following. 1. They confront tasks they have a chance of completing. 2. They must be able to concentrate on what they are doing. 3. The task has clear goals. 4. The task provides immediate feedback. 5. One acts with deep, but effortless involvement that removes the worries and frustrations of everyday life from awareness. 6. One exercises a sense of control over their actions. 7. Concern for the self disappears, yet, paradoxically the sense of self emerges stronger after the flow experience is over. 8. The sense of duration of time is altered. The combination of all these elements causes a sense of deep enjoyment that is so rewarding that expending a great deal of energy is worthwhile simply to be able to feel it. A challenging activity that requires skills. Flow states occur within sequences of activities that are goal-directed and bounded by rules, activities that require the investment of attention and that could not be done without skills. Challenges of competition were found to be stimulating and enjoyable when it is a means to perfect one's skills. When it becomes an end in itself, it ceases to be fun. One of the most universal and distinctive features of optimal experience is that people become so involved in what they are doing that the activity becomes spontaneous, almost automatic. They stop being aware of themselves as separate from the actions they are performing. The loss of self-consciousness. When in a flow experience, what slips below the threshold of awareness is the concept of self, the information we use to represent to ourselves who we are. And being able to forget temporarily who we are seems to be very enjoyable. When not preoccupied with ourselves, we actually have a chance to expand the concept of who we are. Loss of self-consciousness can lead to self-transcendence, to a feeling that the boundaries of our being have been pushed forward. The transformation of time. One of the most common descriptions of flow states is that time no longer seems to pass the way it ordinarily does. Generally, after the experience we do not know where the time went. People who find their lives meaningful usually have a goal that is challenging enough to take up all their energies, a goal that can give significance to their lives. This is called achieving purpose. However, it is not enough to find a purpose, one must also carry through and meet its challenges. This is called resolution. When an important goal is pursued with resolution, and all one's varied activities fit together into a unified flow experience, the result is harmony. Purpose, resolution, and harmony unify life and give it meaning. This is our video today about flow. Have you been in a state of flow? How do you feel about it? What is your take on this? Please like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment below. Have a nice day.